Hi, my name is Kira Mitchell, and today we'll be talking about how the web experience team at Betterment built a React-enabled multi-step flow framework for lead generation on HubSpot. Before we get started, I would like to take a few minutes to introduce the speakers. Myself, Kira Mitchell, and Neil Janzon will be joining us within this journey. At first, let me talk about myself, and then we'll give Neil some time to introduce himself. So I'm a front-end web developer, been working in the marketing industry for over 10 years, where I started out as a graphic designer, designing marketing materials such as ebooks, infographics, Google Ads, banners, you name it, etc. About 6 years ago, I started multitasking, where I did both design and development. I focused most of my development time between the HubSpot CRM and WordPress as well. About 2 years ago, I decided I wanted to make the switch and focus more on web development. And over a year ago, I got the opportunity to start working at Betterment. So now I just live in HubSpot daily. I currently live in Tampa, Florida. In my spare time, when I'm not working, I like to bike ride, rollerblades, which isn't going so well, hanging out with friends, and occasionally international traveling. My favorite travel location was Cancun at the Grand Moon Palace in Mexico. Well, that's enough about me. I'll pass it on to Neil to introduce himself.
Yeah. Thanks, Gary. Hi, everyone. My name is Neil Janzon, and I'm a web experience developer at Betterment as well. I've been working in the marketing industry for over 8 years now, where I primarily worked in content operations and e-commerce site merchandising. And it's really in marketing where I really fell in love with working on CMS platforms like Oracle Endeca or Salesforce Commerce Cloud to build and optimize site experiences. Over time, I eventually became more involved into the tech and the code behind CMS platforms and transitioned into development full-time, which I've been doing for about 2 years now. Outside of work, some fun facts about me is I currently live in Los Angeles. I'm a really, really big Pokemon geek, and my dance of choice is shuffling, which I definitely need practice on, probably more practice than Carrie practicing rollerblading. So again, Carrie and I have been working at Betterment for the past year. And for those that don't know who we are a consumer tech company where we offer digital investment and cash management services through our mobile and web apps. Carrie and I work on the public-facing Betterment.com site, where we work very closely with marketing, design, and engineering. So that's enough about us. I'm going to pass it back to Carrie to kick off what we're here to present for.
Thank you, Neil. And so to get started, let's first, give a little bit of a highlight on some of the topics we plan on covering. And then we'll dive into it. So the topics we'll be covering is why multi-step flow framework. We'll be talking about some of the wish lists we got from our stakeholders. We'll be talking about how exactly we actually put all this together. And then we'll highlight some of the benefits, between our 3 target users, and we'll define what that means later on as we go. And then we'll just showcase, talk about some of the results that we got from all of this. And with that, let's begin. As mentioned, we'll be talking about how we created the flow experience within HubSpot and how we've integrated React framework into that experience. But in order to understand the reasoning, we'll first need to understand why. So let's create a scenario here. Have you ever been on a site where they're asking you to fill out 15 to 30 plus fields on a single form? This can be a big deterrent, especially within the marketing industry, as we find that it's important to maintain engagement and interest within, our short attention span users of today's market. With that, it's sometimes encouraged to shorten your form so it seems not as overwhelming. Unfortunately, sometimes we need to actually collect all this information, and it's important for segmentation, as well as ensuring that prospects are not just speaking to the right person, but also speaking to them at the right time. And the most qualified team members are actually engaging with these leads. This is where a multi-step flow experience comes into play. But note, achieving something like this is not easy and requires a lot of ingenuity. And so with that, we'll talk about how we go about doing this, introduce that a little bit. So what exactly is the Betterment Flow Framework? Our flows are essentially a custom multi-step form framework that integrates React as part of its core building block. That's easily reusable with scalable patterns for both the web and the marketing department. It is used to capture contact information so we can better understand and segment these records. This allows us to hand off more qualified prospects to our sales team. Additionally, unlike traditional forms, which makes it a little bit harder, stressful for users to actually, fill out, especially if it's a bigger form, our flows allows us to create a rich experience for these visitors. It allows our prospects to focus on a single segment or a set of questions at a given time. This in turn reduces stress level. It allows our UX team to create a more customized and creative solution, as well as not only keep our prospects more engaged, but also adds additional channel to educate our marketing team to better understand our leads by tracking form field interaction, as well as possibly drop-off points, such as your path. With that said, I'll let Neil talk about some of the internal wishes and some of the challenges that we face along the way.
Yep. All right. So going to our wish list. So 2 points that we mentioned earlier, we wanted a multi-step flow experience for our users, and we wanted to set expectations and define what exactly we wanted right at the beginning. So I'll walk you through what our wish list was like for this framework and what were some challenges. So the wish list, first and rather, of course, our driving reason is that we wanted to provide a user-friendly and device-agnostic experience for our customers. As what we mentioned earlier, we wanted the form-filling experience for our prospects and users to be intuitive, engaging, and easy. This would include even possibly pre-filling form fields if we know certain things about the user already. Outside of form filling, we also hope these flows would open up more interactive ways for our users to consume and read content. Second, we wanted to develop a repeatable flow construct for our developers. For instance, how do we build a construct that makes it easy and quick for a developer to produce a flow or to make changes to a flow? We knew there would be a lot of requests to produce more once we got the first one out of the gate. So we wanted to make the construct as scalable as possible. Third, we want to enable content ownership and editability and A/B testing to our marketers. We wanted editors to be able to update content on flows within the CMS, and we wanted to allow them to do A/B tests for learning purposes. This would help lift developer overhead and give autonomy to our marketers, which HubSpot does allow us to do with the CMS and CRM tool. A couple more wishes. Yes, we were very needy at the beginning of the project and just wanted to make sure we got this right. So however the framework will be built, we wanted to ensure that we are enabling user trackability and eventing to ultimately allow us to understand our users and even further optimize our site experience, especially for future flows. How do we build this really gives us control of, one question that we had was like, how do we have control of tagging the markup? Second, and also one of our big wishes, if not the requirement, was we wanted this flow experience to be able to store contacts in HubSpot in regards to lead generation, which ultimately kind of goes along with our last wish here, was that we wanted this framework to maximize the full power of HubSpot, taking advantage of the CRM, HubSpot Forms, HubDB, and even potentially HubSpot APIs. We really wanted this construct to take full advantage of HubSpot. So you could see, we had a good amount of things that we wanted for this framework. And while HubSpot does have a good amount of tools to produce amazing site experiences, unfortunately, there were still some challenges and considerations we needed to spike and solve for. For instance, the biggest challenge was there was no native way to build form experiences as flows on HubSpot, and also no immediate way we can build single page applications on the platform, because we really wanted to use React for this. So we had to build this from scratch, keeping in mind that one, we wanted to have reusable components for scalability when building the flow. And two, we also needed a way to manage state to easily persist data between flow steps. Both things that we had to spike for and, really understand how we were going to do. So with this huge amount of requirements, wishes, and knowing the challenges that we have had ahead of us, how in the world did we build this? So Carrie, who I will pass to, will continue this journey and talk about how we did it.
Yeah, thank you, Neil. So we'll talk about how we actually went ahead and built this. So first, let's look at some of the features that we had at our disposal, starting with HubSpot. HubSpot provides us with personalization token. Tokens represents the CRM, objects like contact properties and company information. This basically tells us that when HubSpot stores data, contact, and information property, we natively have access to those data and can use them to create customized experience for users, as well as printing those data directly on a page. Using workflows within HubSpot, it's an incredibly powerful automated tool that allows marketers to nurture leads as well as manage their sales pipeline. This basically means you can set criteria that then determines the next, most best business steps for a contact to take, or even just bucket these contacts within certain criteria. This tool really helps for sales and marketing efforts, but it also is very handy for developers as well, such as taking advantage of the web capability. Custom modules. This is probably the backbone of HubSpot in my opinion. It offers a wide range of functionalities so that content can be fully customized within a page. This allows us to package and isolate, each initiatives or flows in our case as their own experience. And yes, we've built quite a bit of flows in that time. Serverless function, well, this provides a native way for us to write server-side code that interacts with the HubSpot third-party services through the use of API. HubSpot Forms, well, as Neil mentioned, it's a tool that is used to build and create customized forms for specific purposes using drag and drop functionality. This also allows us to perform form submission via API methods, as well as capture tracking information about the user, so we can still take advantage of the native data analytics that comes with a form submission in HubSpot. Moving on, we then looked into the React libraries that we have access to. So to name a few that we took advantage of Formic, which is a form management library that provides components and hooks to ease the process of creating React forms. It keeps track of field values, manage touch points, and handle submission. This reduces the time needed for us to handle state wiring, as well as building a custom form that we obviously needed in order to create our experience. Yup. This is a library that integrates very nicely with Formix and uses and we use it to handle field validation. In our current setup, we wanted to stimulate a similar experience HubSpot form for consistency, so we can ensure that each fields on focus gets an immediate validation, and so the user can see if these fields are required or didn't have the correct input value. As far as our components, which is components are a framework that is notoriously known for, this approach. We currently have around 30, and we also have quite a few components that we've built that's specific for a particular flow. Flow State Provider, this is an internally built library that's managed by our full stack development team that we use as part of our core framework, which manages routing and shares states and values between steps. The idea behind this is wherever the user goes, the flow knows. And with that said, I know that was kind of a bit to take in, but we'll go ahead and try to explain a little bit about how we, all these pieces came together within illustration. So let's talk about how this come together. All right, so basically, again, the module is basically the HubSpot module, custom module is basically the core of this whole build. And the HubSpot module, we're able to like add a bunch of like fields in there. We're able to group a bunch of stuff, and which basically allows the content editors to be able to like edit certain information. But we took it. We also took it to the next step. So obviously we are integrating form into our module via the use of the form ID. But we also are pulling in our personalization token into a module as well. We then pass all this information into our React component, right? Which then compiles all the data and taking it as well as like taking advantage of flow state provider, etc., and then pass that information back into our module. Once all the information is properly handled into our module, we then take that module and put it on the page. Once the page loads, what this does is it basically goes and hit our endpoint, right? Which then fetches the field definition, and then on success, it passes the information back onto the page, and then it basically prints all the information on the page. Some of the information we're looking for are like the field ID, the field label, like place order text, etc., to basically build our form field, right? As well as obviously before we took advantage of the personalization token, so that basically autofills the field value on the page. And so Neil will kind of show you what that looks like in experience on the other screen. Yep. And so this is pretty much what it's end up looking like. So again, we have the field labels, we have the default values that now we can see, based on certain users who we already have known value about. Those can be autofilled, which reduces the stress of the user, filling out the form. But then also, if we look at the top, we realize that we have a path. In this case, we have like email, and we also have a few steps. And so these steps are basically being managed by a flow state provider, which allows us to go forward and backwards between steps, as well as consume all the data that we need. If we go back onto the illustration, so once that information is now loaded on the page properly, the user is able to obviously interact with the page. And then once the user gets to a point where we feel like some sort of submission would need to happen, the user clicks submit, and then the information goes back to our serverless function, right? And then from there, assuming everything goes well, it pushes the information back into the HubSpot CRM, which then is now consumed and then hit our workflow. Now, the benefit of this from a development standpoint is once the workflow runs the way our marketers think that it needs to run in order for it to achieve its best goal, then we can also hit a webhook, which we can then integrate all this data into some other third-party information if we feel like there's a need in order to achieve our goal. And so with that said, we will pass it on back to Neil, who will basically go ahead and talk about some of the benefits that we've seen on creating an experience like this, as well as do a little bit of demo.
Yeah. Thank you, Carrie, for that deep dive. Now I'm going to talk about just some of the benefits and outcomes between some of our 3 target users. And also we want to show you a demo afterwards. So, we want to explore some of the benefits and results this framework has provided us from the perspective of our key users. So these would be the developers like Carrie and myself, marketers and designers, and most importantly, our website users and prospects, the end user. So starting off with the development outcomes, first off, a really big win for us is this framework opened up the gates for us to use React and single page applications. Because of the relationship we build to flow data from a HubSpot module to a React project, we are now able to build more interactive and JavaScript focused applications. Also, because of React, this enables us to take advantage of routing and allows us to have greater control over our pages and what displays based off page routes, something we were not able to do natively. Third, this construct and the use of reusable components in React has allowed us to produce flows a lot quicker. Fourth, because this construct integrates the use of HubSpot tooling like Forms, the CRM, and even HubDB, it really gives us greater focus on developing on one single platform versus our attention's divided on a bunch of platforms and systems. It's nice to know that we can just do everything in HubSpot. Lastly, given the speed in which we can produce flows and projects, this really opens up for even greater innovation and lets us as the developers give more attention to other projects. Moving on to some of the benefits on the marketing design side, this framework really solidified HubSpot as that one-stop shop platform for our marketing team. Our editors and marketing team are able to generate leads in the CRM, have control over form fields within flows, trigger workflow events, and also have the ability to update flow content without the need of a developer. This sounds amazing, right? This ability to update content allows our marketing team to quickly set up tests using HubSpot's native A/B tests. Because each of our React projects are cooked within a reusable module, marketers are able to produce A/B versions of a page, making minor tweaks to the same flow experience for each variant. We are also able to give our marketers the ability to gain insights on user behavior through us integrating analytics code into our construct to track user events. So our marketing team has already created a report on user behavior on one of our signup flows that we launched this year. So pretty neat. And lastly, having React in this flows framework allows our design team to create more complex and interactive layouts and experiences. They're able to create more interactive things, and our construct allows us to build it. And lastly, but also, most importantly, here are some outcomes for our end user. Our flows framework has provided a more dynamic and more personalized way of filling out forms for our users. To Carrie's point earlier, because of the usage of the personalization tokens, we're able to pre-fill form data based off existing records and also dynamically start the user in a specific flow screen, agnostic of devices. We'll demo this in a bit. Aside from flow experiences to fill forms, our users can also consume content in a more rich and engaging way through a flow. This helps us tell better stories to our users through screen-to-screen experiences. And lastly, because of the benefits of the single page application, React, there's also the benefit of perceived and actual page speed, as our users do not need to load a page when going from one flow screen to another. So pretty awesome benefit. So, Carrie and I have been talking a lot, and we've been, we talked about like what exactly we were building, our wish list, how we built it, and like the outcomes. We definitely want to use this time now to show you what, these flow experiences look like on our site. So we're going to show you two different types of flows, starting off with our one of our signup flows. So voila, this is an example of one of our flows on betterment.com. And you see, sort of like on the page, like what we pointed out earlier, we do have progress steps to let users know where in the flow that they are. Our flow experiences that take advantage of the Forms API, there is a one-to-one relationship. So in this flow experience that I'm going to go through, all the fields that we see exist on one single form. So for example, this screen right here, all of these are controlled by one field. And because of that API, our editors are able to go straight into that HubSpot field and update labels, add more options, and it should, quickly update it on the front end because of that API. So I'm going to make some selections right now, pretending I'm a new customer. I'm going to click continue, and you see we are now stepped into screen 2, which uses, again, just another field from that HubSpot form. So I'm going to select a little bit more here, click continue, I enter screen 3. No form fields here. We just see like more content. But if I click on schedule my free call, you see that I'm in another screen that shows 4 more fields from that form. And it's really here where if a user were to click continue, this actually does send a submission to the HubSpot API, and that generates the contact. And one also neat thing that we want to show you is I can step back because of us using React, and because of state management, we are able to persist data as as the user is navigating from one screen to another. So you see that these are still checked off, and these are still checked off. Some other thing that we also want to show that Carrie pointed out is the persistence of data if you already know information about you. So let's say I'm a user that, we have information about you already from the personalization token, or you've submitted the form already and you're just revisiting. So I'm gonna go to this screen right here. Let's say I revisit this flow. You see that I immediately go to step 4, and that's because all the screens that exist before it, all these fields are already pre-populated by things that exist for that specific contact record. So our flow is dynamic enough to understand what you've probably already filled, and it will take you straight to the screen that is missing information. So in this case, we see that phone number is missing and is required. So it takes you straight to that screen. Some other flow that we want to really quickly show you about. So it's our crypto education flow. This one is a little different from the last flow in that it doesn't take advantage of the HubSpot Form API. This field that we see here is hard-coded, but this flow really shows us the power of flows in that we can use it to provide interactive experiences for a user that's content-driven. So if I click on continue, we see that the first screen is just a content piece, really just talking about what Bitcoin is, no form fields at all. If I click on next, similar type of content, you see it's just like a very step-by-step, way of consuming content. One thing to note is on this listing right here, this is all information coming from a specific HubDB table. So our construct does allow us to use HubDB, which is pretty neat. Allows us to use centralized data and content into a React project. So I'm going to just keep on clicking. You see just, very seamless and smooth way of consuming crypto information. And then I'm just gonna finish this off. So here, we showed you 2 different types of flows, one with the purpose of generating leads, and another just to show a different way of consuming content for our users. So with that, I'm gonna pass it back to Carrie to talk about some of our key results.
Yeah, Neil, thank you very much. So as you can see, we've done quite a bit over the past few years since we've been here, and we can see how we've built the flow and we've taken advantage of some of its features. So now let's look at some of the results, some of the gains we've got from that flow. So a few things that happen. We've created over 9 flows within about 6 months, right? Using these reusable patterns that we keep building on. We've tested, hundreds of user interaction and have started making small business tweaks to encourage, engageability, enhance the user experience. We've produced much more qualified leads to sales since, we are not only providing them with a large form to fill out, but the user has a great experience, and then sales team now knows a lot more about these prospects and are able to really dive into some of the their wish list and able to be able to solve some of those. We've seen less drop-offs because again we're continuously making updates and ensuring that our users are getting exactly what they need, what they came for. And we've applied this flow building experience between multiple business lines as we have here. And so with that, if there's any questions that you guys have for us, we'd like to say thank you guys for the opportunity to be able to, do this presentation for you. And we hope this experience was able to like inspire more creative approach, that we could take with HubSpot into like helping us, better market for our prospects. And with that, if you have any questions, we'll like to go into a Q&As now.
Thank you.